It is a special breaking news edition of baseball today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan along for the ride as well. I think I concluded our earlier episode on Wednesday by saying, hey, I don't know when we'll see you again if something special breaks. And then about 15 minutes later, Pete Alonso inks a 5-year, $155 million deal with the Baltimore Orioles. And so we're back. Here we are. How shocked are you that he is headed from New York to Baltimore?
I'm shocked on the team. I thought it would happen quickly just because of the Schwarber contract, and now he had guidelines of what he wanted. But we talked about the Orioles and Elias coming on and saying, we have the money to spend. I said, if you put it out there, you better go do it. And he did it.
Look at that picture, by the way, Plouffe. A little AI.
You know what? I don't want to say this. That looks a little Chris Davis right there.
I think it actually looks like David Wright.
A little bit of both. Okay. Pete looks good in any uniform. A ball player. I love this move for the Orioles. I don't think they're done. It automatically makes them, honestly, I mean, if they get a few guys to step up the way we think they can, it makes it one of the most formidable lineups in the American League, just like that. So they have work to do on the pitching end, which Elias has said they're trying. We talked about the Edward Cabrera deal earlier today on our full episode that, this is exactly what needed to happen for the Orioles. Like a spark of life into that organization after a really disappointing year. New manager, Pete Alonso, Ryan Helsley in the back end, Andrew Kittredge over there. Like it is, it's shaping up for them right now. I would say they've won the offseason. Dodgers getting Edwin Diaz is pretty cool. Still a lot of people out there, but to this point, they've done the best.
Yeah, they needed to, because they had become somewhat of an afterthought after this last place finish, right? They go from 23 and 24, where they're the young upstart, like, man, I can't wait to see where this tidal wave takes us in a good way. And then it all came crashing to a halt last year. The start was horrific, and then it didn't get significantly better. But yes, you look at the lineup. First of all, they have something that people covet in this league, and that is right-handed pop. Now that they've added Alonso, don't forget that they made a trade for Taylor Ward, who's a 30-homer-plus guy when he's healthy. And so now all of a sudden they've got two pieces that everybody seems to be searching for in an offseason. I am curious how big a risk this is. What were you about to point about?
Well, I don't think they're too right-handed. They're very
no, they're not too
right-handed as far as right, left, some switching there as well.
No, but they have two, meaning the number two of right-handed hitters. Like there's not a ton of right-handed pop that is always becoming available, and the Orioles ended up getting two big pieces there. I am curious if you think that this might be an overpay, and I only say it from this standpoint. We could say whatever we want about Pete Alonso's scooping ability at first base. It's basically MASH, and that's what he brings to the party. For 5 years and $155 million, does that make sense? Or in today's day and age, does it make sense to a guy who can help you not only hit the ball a little bit out of the ballpark, but maybe play some better defense and maybe run the bases?
They can do that. They have other guys to do that. So if you're all Pete Alonso's on your team, you're going to run into some problems. But if you have guys that can play defense and run the bases and have bat to ball skills, you need guys like Pete Alonso. So like it is a happy medium, happy balance that they seemingly have. And again, we kind of got away from like the home run hitter, type thing, because we want well-rounded teams. Absolutely, you need these guys too. Guys that have proven track records of driving in runs, can hit the long ball. Because again, I'll say it, and I'll say it again and again and again. The most efficient way to score runs, hit the ball at the ballpark. So like you have to have these guys. I think they were lacking that a little bit. We talked about it. How many guys hit over 15 home runs for them last year? 3. Jackson Holliday, Gunnar Henderson, and Jordan Westburg. Now you got a guy that's going to give you 40 a year, almost on call. He plays every single day. There's so many attributes to like about Pete Alonso. I think he fits in really well with like this group here. This to me is how about a pun here? A home run of a deal, grand slam, if you will. And I really think what happened, this is how I think it went down. Pete Alonso sees Kyle Schwarber sign. We said, that's my base, 5/150. I'll take that. He got that, And I don't even think he thought about any other teams. I don't think he said, Scott, take this to any other teams. I think he said, I got the deal I want. I didn't get it last year. I ain't taking that chance again. Boom, let me sign. Now he's a Baltimore Oriole.
Now he is, and he's going to add more than just tremendous thump to that lineup, but also I think a little bit of veteran leadership, a guy that can answer questions, all that sort of stuff. But when we're talking
energy, he brings that energy.
He does, and he brings it every day. Go look at the WAR figures for the everyday ball players for the Baltimore Orioles a season ago. Gunnar Henderson was still a 5.5 WAR player, even though he did not have a great season at the dish. The guys that rank second and third, depending on which WAR you go with, Ramon Laureano and Ryan O'Hearn, who were traded mid-season to the San Diego Padres. So that'll show you how thin it was. So there's guys that are going to have to pick it up a little bit if they want to get back into the playoff race. So in your opinion, what do they do next? Are we talking about a Framber Valdez? Are we talking about a Ranger Suarez? Or are we talking about a trade for a guy like Miami's Edward Cabrera?
I think, I like the trade for Edward Cabrera because that allows you to go do another move, whether that is go get another pitcher or another position player. Like he said, we have money to spend. This isn't all that they have to spend. So I think they need to get that Edward Cabrera deal done. I don't know what it's going to take. You know, they mentioned Westberg. It's really tough to get away from that guy. Pretty good ball player. But I think it's worth it because he's under team control for a few more years, not making a ton of money. I mean, those are the kind of pieces that you have to have. I mean, I'd slot him. Doesn't he become their one? Close to it, right? I mean, maybe they have a bunch of twos in that rotation, but still, it makes it so much better. And then again, you still have that money that you're willing to spend on free agents, and you can sit down, evaluate your team, and say, okay, well, we got our lineup set, we got a pitcher. Now, where do we need to really go all in on? I think that should be their next move. Let's go swing that deal, and then figure it out.
The thing that scares you a little bit about Cabrera is the injury history. Each of the last couple of years, he's had 2 separate stints on the injured list. That is a frightening thing. The upside is that he really can throw the baseball, number one. He also has 3 more years of team control, which allows you a little bit more financial flexibility. So I don't know if you want to go spend whatever it's going to take to get a Framber Valdez. Ranger Suarez is a guy that would definitely interest me. I'll throw one other name. He's a lot older than these other guys, but I think Chris Bassett is a guy that probably would fit in nicely there. He'll give you innings. He's a dog. How
about go get Nick Pivetta, man? Like he's available.
He is available. That's another one.
But that's also only a 1-year deal. And then the other guy you could think of.
Yeah, that's the problem. And Trevor Rogers is up after this year. So if you really believe in him, maybe you try and extend him now before he does get to free agency. But if not, then you have the danger of having to fill a couple vacancies.
Yeah, it is interesting because we did talk about, how Skubal seems like not really a destination there, but they've done it before. So like it's not out of the realm of possibility that the Orioles say, I'll go out and get the guy. They did it with Corbin Burns, man.
I know, but
it didn't really work out. They didn't get to sign him. Fine. They're probably not going to sign Scoobs, but that's not like out of the range of possibility. I don't know. I don't think I would. I mean, you want him on your team, but I don't know if that would be my next move. I'd want controllable starting pitching.
It wouldn't be mine.
Hunter Green would be great.
Now that's one I would.
He's controllable in a fair deal. How about fastball Freddie? I know it's a 1 year, but he's only making $8 million.
Right. Those are all possibilities. Let us know, what are your thoughts on the Orioles? How much more do they need to get back in the AL East discussion with Toronto, with New York, and with Boston? Those are all teams that made the playoffs last year. Blue Jays and Yankees tied with the same regular season record. And, of course, the Blue Jays were just a few outs away from kissing the Commissioner's Trophy. Now let's look at this from the Mets side of things. If you have Mets friends out there, friends that are Mets fans, please do a wellness check today. Please. I am begging you, because in the last 24 hours, they have lost Edwin Diaz, their all-star closer, to the LA Dodgers for a meager $3 million more over the life of a 3-year contract, reportedly. They did not even make an offer to Pete Alonso, their all-time home run hitting champion. And now he is off in the American League with the Baltimore Orioles. All this coming just a couple weeks after trading fan favorite Brandon Nimmo for Marcus Semien. If you're a Mets fan, I asked you this question on the earlier edition of Baseball Today on Wednesday. Now that Alonso's gone, have you totally lost faith in your front office?
Are you asking me that question? It's hard not to feel that way right now. And you know what? I keep going back to that soundbite of David Stearns being like, "Yeah, we know Pete's in the building. We were very familiar with him." And they ended up not even getting an offer into the guy. Like this, that is an epic fail right there. Because at first glance, my first thought was, man, they got to go shore up that pitching staff. I think that should be the next move. Go look at the lineup, Chris. The lineup isn't there. And I know you got Lindor, and I know you got Soto, and Soto, I mean, had an exceptional year last year. It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. That lineup is very, very thin. A lot of question marks there. There's no like proven track record guys, basically, other than Lindor and Soto there. Semien, he's not the offensive threat he once was. Vientos has had 1 year. Jeff McNeil, pretty good ball player. Is he going to carry your offense? Probably not. Francisco Alvarez has had his ups and downs. Like, they have question marks there. And even if you went out, and I said this to Jake, even if you went out now and got a Bregman, like, offensively, is that enough? Like, I think you needed to get Pete back there and then still kind of go. It is. I still think you're in a good position because you have Steve Cohen and you do have some young, controllable starters. So if you have an ownership that is one of the richest owners in the sport and is willing to spend money and is also a fan of your team, great. That is A+ in my book. Young, controllable starting pitchers that have a real chance to be legit, another A+ in my book. A generational hitter, A+ in my book. Still not enough. It's still not enough. It's not a complete team yet, and they're going to have to figure that out. So there's still time, but those guys, we're losing daylight right now on these free agents, man. And I don't even think, again, like, if they went and signed Alex Bregman, it would make them better, yes. But does that put them at the forefront of the NL East? I don't think so.
No, it definitely doesn't. I mean, where
are they now? Are they above the Braves right now?
Probably not. Just based on the starting pitching, I would give Atlanta the nod. That's what I would do. That's the problem here, is that the Mets, something has gone, they've gotten their wires crossed, and I don't know exactly what happened. Remember earlier today, I said I texted with a friend of mine that's been a Mets fan, and he's a little bit older than I am, and unsolicited, he said that David Stearns lost the fan base. Well, here's, I guess, the funny thing. He has a chance to get it back, because this is not the end-all, be-all. I know it feels that way for Mets fans, but spring training doesn't start tomorrow. It starts in 2 months. That gives you ample time to right, I don't even know if I'm going to call it wrongs, because maybe they did need to change up this clubhouse. And maybe that included shipping Brandon Nimmo out, happy-go-lucky guy, for a guy who maybe can hold some people responsible. I don't know. I don't know behind the scenes what Brandon Nimmo was like. I know you know what Marcus Semien is like behind the scenes.
Awesome.
Maybe Pete Alonso wasn't doing his job behind the scenes as much as he was producing on the field. Maybe they need to put in some fresh faces there. I mean, you're not going to move Soto. You're not going to move Lindor. So we got to move some other people. And if they don't even make an offer to Pete Alonso, I think they told us last year what they thought about Pete Alonso. They told us last year. So this is nothing that's surprised. I'm not going, oh my God, I can't believe it. You know what Pete Alonso did? He rebounded by having a great year. And now at the end of the day, he goes and signs for $155, but that was never going to be with the New York Mets. That was never going to be with the New York Mets after we saw him sign in the middle of February last year, a 2-year deal with an opt-out after the first. So that wasn't going to happen. So now what does David Stearns do? I think you're going to see a huge trade. I am still in on the Tarek Skubal thing until he ends up elsewhere or he stays with Detroit. I'm going to say that that's still part of the equation. Wouldn't shock me if they go get a Cody Bellinger. And then Go trade for somebody else that we're not even thinking of. And that's the best part of this whole sport. Go trade for somebody we're not thinking of.
Give me some examples. Like they need a couple sticks in that lineup.
Like, is that where Ketel Marte ends up? They've got young pitching that Arizona would want.
I would love that. Him and Lindor, just the same as him and Ellie De La Cruz. I like that together up the middle.
Okay.
Trade for Marte and sign Bregman.
Now all of a sudden, now you win. Now you start to win a little bit.
I like the pitching. So, like, the more and more I think about it, like, do they have a tried and true, like, ace there right now? Like, probably not.
No.
But maybe McLean turns into that. Like, these young guys are pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to be happy about that. And Senga has been great for you. It didn't end well last year, but, like, hey, let's see. Like, you can't just, like, throw the guy out to the pasture because you think he had a bad couple months. Like, he can rebound and be just fine. Like, the pitchers do that all the time in this game. My God, think about the number of guys that go to Korea and come back and get these contracts. Like, pitchers can do that nowadays. So I'm not lost on him either. So maybe, like, the pitching is last on their agenda right now. And the more and more I look at their roster, like, it's lineup and then the back end of the bullpen.
Yeah, I bet you he makes at least one earth-ish shattering trade. I think he might make.
You think he's smiling anymore in those interviews? He ain't.
No, he's not. Once again, this was David Stern's after the reports about Diaz signing with the Dodgers, but he couldn't talk specifically about that. And he was asked about how the fan base is handling this situation. Here, this is it again.
I certainly understand that our fan base is frustrated with how our season ended last year. We're frustrated with how our season ended last year. We didn't meet our expectations, and we've got to do better than that. I also understand that our fans naturally have an attachment, as we do as well, an attachment to players who have been here and who have performed here for a long time. And we do take that into account, and it is part of the decisions that we have to make. We also have to be very cognizant about making the decisions that are going to allow us to compete now and also fit in with the future years where we want to consistently be World Series caliber team and World Series caliber organization. And sometimes that leads to really tough, uncomfortable decisions, and we've had to make a couple of those over the course of this offseason.
He's talking to us like we're 5 years old. I don't like that. Like, I get he's trying to project strength right there and confidence. It doesn't come off that way to me, at least.
And for the record, that was done on Tuesday. So that was before Pete Alonso even left town. But he knew that it wasn't going to happen. He knew it the whole time.
You think so?
Yeah, I think that.
You think he thought the relationship was severed after the last year, the way that went?
I think it was severed before that. I think he was daring somebody to sign Pete Alonso to a long-term deal before last season when he wasn't coming off of nearly as good a year as he did this year.
He needs to recalibrate his thinking. I'll tell you that much right now.
Well,
you just let a hell of a player go, a guy that's, again, puts the numbers up on the field, posts at the position that he plays, and is the energy guy.
You just nailed it, though, at the position that he plays. And I don't think
I don't see it. Is there a first baseman stepping up in the organization right now to bang 40 homers?
No.
Think those things just grow on trees?
No.
Sorry,
you and I value
like
guys who play. You and I value guys who play every day. That is the number one thing. You've got to be out there. And then, he's got a specific skill set. He doesn't run the bases. He's not Keith Hernandez at first base. He mashes, and you can pencil him in every day. And we talked about this with somebody else the other day. It might have even been Alonso.
Is Soto a 5-tool player all of a sudden?
No.
I know he's a better hitter. I get that. It masks a lot of the deficiencies that Pete has, but like, he's not a 5-tool player. You need sticks. You need rakers. There's other guys to run the bases and play defense. That's why you have 9 dudes out there. They all do different things. You can't just have, hey, everybody needs to be 5-tool. That doesn't happen. You can't have that. Nobody has that.
Juan Soto can steal bases. He had almost.
He did a great job. I know, that's crazy. I love that. Maybe
who knows?
Teach Pete then.
Maybe Pete swipes 21 bags this year.
Josh Naylor friggin' steals bases. Teach Pete. I would, dude. If I was Josh Naylor, I would set up a little seminar and sell to all the teams. This is how I did it.
That's pretty good. Do you think that one of the following names ends up in Queens?
Okay.
Tarek Skubal, Framber Valdez, Ranger Suarez, Kyle Tucker, Cody Bellinger.
You just named the balls of, or the bells of the ball.
Yeah, or the balls of the balls.
Balls of the balls, baby. I mean, part of me wants to say, yeah, I feel like they're getting embarrassed right now. I feel like the Mets, I feel like Stephen Cohen, David Stearns, the rest of the front office, the entire organization is feeling embarrassed right now. And when you get embarrassed, you want to get unembarrassed quickly. And I think that's one way to do it, is to go get one of those guys. But I mean, look, if Stearns thinks he's smarter than every other person and maybe he's thinking into the future, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. Is Skubal the best thing for their organization? Because if you get Skubal, all of a sudden, you have to be able to pay him. I mean, I know they can pay him, but you have to be able to convince him to stay there too.
Mm-hmm. True. I mean, the Tigers
are. To be honest with you, I would say yes, Chris, to answer your question.
Yeah, I think that they get somebody here. And by the way, David Stearns didn't just get a call from Scott Boras and saying, hey, Pete signed elsewhere. And Stearns been like, what? Like, he knew this was going to happen. He's got some sort of backup plan. I personally, as a baseball fan, cannot wait to see what it is, because I live for chaos. I want to see it. I feel badly for I feel terribly for Jolly. He's got to deal with this emotional roller coaster that he's been on all year. They were freaking 45-24, I think. They were 21 games over 500. They limped to the finish line. They don't even get in the playoffs. And now you got to deal with this. That's tough, man. Dude, we were on this show. We were talking about, I remember asking the question, have the Mets moved past the Yankees in terms of like New York's destination?
What did we say? Like
the destination to be in New York City. And
I don't think either is like the premier destination anymore. In their respective leagues, I don't think like the Mets in the National League are not the premier destination to go. We know where that is. And in the American League, I think there's other destinations that people are wanting to go instead of the Yankees right now. I still think I mean, maybe the Yankees still have a case for number one in the American League. Surely the Mets do not in the National League.
No. They do not. All right. Lot to get through here. What do we think of Pete Alonso going to Baltimore? What else do the Orioles need to do in order to creep back into the good standings there in the American League East? How close are they right now to those three teams that made the postseason a year ago? And if you're the New York Mets, first of all, if you're a Mets fan, have you totally lost faith, or are you still giving David Stearns and his crew some time to figure this out? And if you were working for Stevie Cohen, what's your next move? Are you trading for Tarek Skubal? Are you signing a bunch of free agents? Are you making a lesser trade play? Let's go. Now, let's take a little breather. There's been a lot of stuff happening. Plouffe needs his beauty rest. He needs to get well. He's been fighting through some stuff. So we cannot have another big signing today, okay? That's a word of warning to everybody else out there. We can't have too much of it layered on top. So, and one other note.
Okay.
Congratulations to Joe Buck, the Ford Frick Award winner. He'll be entering the Hall of Fame just like his pappy did in 1987. Very cool. Known Joe a long time. He's awesome. I miss him on baseball. I think we got a great young stable of play-by-play guys at the national level. But I thought Joe was actually underrated for what he did. That's what I thought.
Shout out Joe Buck. You know what? Coach Ballgame loves Joe Buck. So, friend of Coach Ballgame's, you're a friend of mine. And yours, I guess.
Yeah. I've known Joe a long time. Okay. Did some Fox postseason baseball.
Hey, national broadcasters, I'm your guy. I just won an Emmy. Let's go.
It's true. He did. We're very proud of you. Very proud of you. Now go get well and hydrate today. We'll be back later in the week if something big breaks. But if you all want to take like 48 hours off and decompress and do your Rule 5 draft and all that, and then we'll see you Monday. That's perfectly fine as well. But we're always around the corner. So go watch our earlier edition and hit on some other topics. Hopefully you enjoyed this edition as well. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, the uber-talented, if not under-the-weather, Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you who knows when, soon maybe, on Baseball Today.